Hi everyone, this is Andy from New Pig in the Waste Minimization Forum, and just wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of the waste savings tool just to give you a feel for how it works. So what you'll see here is we have 7 tabs. This one I'm just playing with. So we have disposal methods and costs, recycling methods and costs, the waste inventory, savings per unit, financial summary, assumptions, and waste density. The two or the three that you're really going to be working in are disposal methods, recycling methods, and waste inventory. So for example, on the disposal methods, this is where you put in disposal options that you have along with the costs. So we'll say here, we'll say Berg, whoop, so the Bergmeyer dumpster 20 yard. And these are you're just looking for names that allow you to remember what they are on the other pages. We pay $66.51, and then the per automatically comes in 1 and ton. I mean, you can report in any unit you want. That's one of the nice things. It does all the conversions in the background. So if you want to do it by pounds, cubic feet, cubic yards, you can do whatever you like. But in our case, we pay by the ton. We have 0 charge per pull. You know, sometimes you'll get costs, you'll run into $20 per pull, whatever it may be. We have 1 pull per week. And our rental cost is $224 per week. So basically, all you're doing on this page is entering your different disposal options. You may only want to do your landfill or your dumpster, for example, or you may have solvent disposal, etc., etc. So you can do whatever you want on this page. This is just where all your current disposal methods go. I want to highlight this cell. It's actually pretty important. So the dumpster size, if it's a dumpster, just select the yardage. What this does later is it calculates how that dumpster is filled by your waste, and it has a huge bearing on rental cost. So really important there. So just select 20 yards there in this case. We'll go to our next tab here, recycling methods and costs. So again, you can enter these in whatever order you want. You know, you can run down through your list or your invoice. You don't have to have a specific order, but just for this example, I'll say baled cardboard to Concord, who's our recycling vendor in this case. Scrap value is $80 per 1 ton. We have 0 pull charge, and we have 1 pull per week. And it won't crash or anything if you leave that blank. I'm just trying to give an example here. And we have 0 rental cost on that. So what we're doing now is you can populate all of your disposal methods and your recycling methods in these 2 tabs, and then the waste inventory is where you actually go to see the results. So this is where everything happens. So the waste category allows you to just group these, and I'll show you something in a minute here. So if I do waste category cardboard and the waste subtype, I'm going to say corrugate baled. Why this subtype is important is it does a lot of the calculations for you. So instead of you trying to figure out pounds per cubic yard or anything else, when you select the waste subtype, there are almost 100 in there. So if you want to say plastic, it gives you the different options then. So HDPE, film, semi-compacted, all of these. So why this is important is because it allows all of the density calculations in the background. And these are all EPA standard calculations. So if you look at waste density tab, you don't need to do anything here, but this is a list of all the EPA accepted densities for waste. So they come in really handy in the calculations. But all you have to just do is select the closest waste subtype. If you leave that blank, it'll ask you later for the density, which you can plug in manually if you want. So description of waste, I'm going to say cardboard from manufacturing. And I'll just say just drop that in there. This is just so you can keep these straight. So I left this in. Let's say it's 120,000 pounds. And again, this is just like the other thing. You can select whatever unit you want. And every 1 year, I can list that. If I want to measure waste by the hour, I can do that, by the shift, by the day, by the week, by the month, by the year. So that then gives you the generation rate per working hour, which some standards, it's a nice number to have. And then this is just a conversion. If you provide tons, it'll list it in pounds. That's just for the calculations in the back end. So if we move over here, these are the next steps. So disposal method, this is what you populated on this disposal methods tab. So as you list, say you have 10 or 15 disposal methods, you can just select them here. So you can do that for every waste you want. And what that does is it pulls in your information that you already input. So if you put in that dumpster once, that cost information, you can use it as many times and for as many different wastes as you want. So I just pulled that in. If you need a waste conversion factor, it'll just highlight this cell and ask you for pounds per cubic yard, etc. So it says it right there. But because I use that subtype, I don't have to do any kind of conversions if I'm going to cubic yards. It also brought in, then it does all the calculations in the back end for the disposal cost per year, the number of dumpsters if pulled one time a week, the pull cost per year, and the rental fee for a year. This additional handling labor, that's something you can enter. So say $2,000 I want to put in there because Stan is responsible for handling this, and we need to report hours. Whatever you want to do there, that's kind of a free-form field. Then this is your total cost per year to dispose the waste, so it calculates it all out for you based on volume or weight. And this is important, cost calculation basis. So this is how in the back end it calculates how your dumpsters are filled. So in this case it's weight because I had baled corrugate, but if I change that, and this does all the calculations for you, if I change that to flattened boxes instead of compression baled, you'll see that the disposal cost goes up significantly and the cost calculation is then based on volume. That's because baled cardboard is very heavy. You're going to max out the maximum poundage on a dumpster before you'll fill it, so you use fewer dumpsters. So because I clicked that over to flatten, then you see it went from, let's forget what it is. It went from $8,400 to almost $31,000, and it also went from weight fills to volume fills. So then if I move over to the next set of cells, so we've covered disposal, now we're going to do recycling. So again, you can pick say you have 10 recycling options in there that you populated on this tab. So I'm just going to pick that baled cardboard to Concord. It'll tell me the scrap revenue per year, any pull cost or rental fee, and again I can add that. So it tells me that for that same corrugate I'm going to make $4,800 in revenue, and then the total savings is $13,283. And how that's calculated is it looks at, I used to pay $8,400 and now I'm making $4,800 for $13,283 in total savings. So now we have our savings number, and say that as part of our waste minimization program, we don't have a baler yet, and our recycler requires that cardboard to be baled. So let's say we have to spend $6,000 on a baler. It'll also then right there give you your payback period for the new equipment. So after that, I mean, that's basically the core of your calculations. The next two tabs I'm going to cover, they're just generated from this data that you already have. So savings per unit, this is populated down as you add waste. So it says, okay, cardboard from manufacturing, every pound of source reduction saves 7 cents in direct disposal costs. And then if you're reducing and recycling, every pound recycled instead of disposed saves 11 cents per pound. So what this is nice is to help guys on the plant floor, for example, understand what recycling is worth per pound. I think people start looking at waste differently when they realize, every pound of cardboard that we recycle is worth 11 cents to our bottom line. Then the financial summary, this is just kind of a view for management, or a summary view. It just takes, again, those same wastes and the same things that you already saw in the waste inventory tab, and just pulls out the financials and lays them out in a black and white kind of format. The assumptions, you may not even need to touch this tab. What this does is, when you're looking at that production, 30 pounds per hour, for example, that's calculating on working hours. So some calculations like dumpster rental, they just use calendar hours. Your generation rate per working hour gives you a better feel for how much waste you're actually generating while you're working. So that's kind of a side calculation that you can really dial in your accuracy. And the maximum dumpster weights, this basically just sets from your waste vendor what the maximum weight allowed per dumpster is. So for a 10-yard, 3,000 pounds is the maximum fill without fees. These are pretty standard across the industry, so I don't think you'll have to touch them. These assumptions just help give you really good, accurate numbers. And then as you populate, you go down through your wastes. So say you have multiple disposal methods, you have multiple dumpsters or vendors, say you have a solvent disposal contract. So you populate your disposal, you populate your recycling costs and revenue, and then this is what you end up with. So as you build out your wastes, it does all your calculations, and you can select whatever type of waste disposal for each waste line you want, and then you can do your recycling type. You end up with your total savings. So in this case, $76,000 in total savings. So basically the data is as good as what you put in, but again, you don't have to do any conversions, you don't have to do any legwork. It'll take any format you have, any measurement you have over any time, and apply those densities and do everything in the background for you. So even for wood pallets, it helps you understand, the cost of disposing of wood pallets if you're landfilling them versus if you send them to be chipped and recycled, which a lot of recyclers actually do now. So that's basically a quick run through. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me at andy@wastemin.com, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Thanks a lot.